Hello. Ta-da! I was just giving the heads up to everybody on Facebook and on LinkedIn and where we are heading today. So if you're on, let us know that you're on. Let us know that you've come to take a breath with Hayley and I today. So Hayley Barker-Smith is one of our ADHD practitioners. She is a holistic psychotherapist, and this is a conversation that probably about, well, if I'm honest, probably about 5 years ago, I would have had. But I would have had because I felt I should have it, not because I'm like, this stuff really works. I probably was a bit late. You know, this was something that I was talking about and the benefits of it long before I was doing it. I was a bit like that with meditation because the science behind it, there was so much behind it. And then I started doing my own breath work. And actually, for me, my breath work kind of became my meditation. And it's something that I certainly use quite a lot just throughout the day as I'm bobbing around. So, Hayley, welcome to the ADHD Practitioner Summit.
Thank you.
How are you?
Nervous.
Are you?
I'm just picking up on something you said about doing it. And it becomes a way of being more than doing with breath work. So.
And probably actually that's exactly what has happened to me, because when it's a doing, that was when I found it really difficult. Do you know what I mean? When it was something I had to do, I've got to do my breath work, I've got to do my breath work. Whereas now, it certainly is something that I don't necessarily do. I just will be like, oh, just take a breath, just take a beat.
Yeah. But how many times does someone say that? Oh, just take a breath. You don't connect with what that means, what that does, what that really, the power of that. Just take a breath. It just sounds like words, doesn't it? But if you can really believe in the breath.
Do you think as well, though, that is something that has become more commonplace, you know, because before it was something that was, you know, like I think the whole world, I think 2024, the world is getting more and more woo. And I don't mean to be, you know, derogatory calling it woo, but stuff I've done over the years, people have gone, oh, Kim, it's all a bit woo and that. But actually, I'm like, I think the whole world is coming to a place where, I don't know, maybe we're becoming more responsible for our own health and well-being, and maybe transcending the materialism and the rat race and stuff. And do you think it's something you're seeing more of and becoming
of course, what with social media and all the different breath apps and things that you can follow on a daily basis to be accountable. But I guess that's hard for me because I didn't grow up with social media, and I started breath work well over 20 years ago, before the internet.
Oh, so, really?
Oh, yeah. So for
really woo then, Hayley.
I am so woo. I am woo. I use woo. You know, I breathe woo. Woo woo. You know, I embrace the woo-ness. You know, it's not something some people kind of feel a bit embarrassed or like awkward admitting that they're spiritual, or they don't like the word journey. I am on that journey. I've been on it for such a long time, and I'll tell you more about that when I'm asked. But
well, I was just going to say, let's go to that place now, because like you say, you've been doing this for 20 years, and that is in the breathwork space. That's quite a long time, because there's a lot of people who are new to it, which is nothing wrong with that. But
I mean, I say breathwork 20 years. I started my healing journey when I was in my teens. That's how I started. I became a Reiki master, crystal healer, aromatherapist, reflexologist over the years, trying to deal with my ADHD, trying to find a way to heal myself. Wondering what the hell was wrong with me, searching for solutions to my dysregulation, my emotional flooding, that amygdala hijack all the time, that not connecting with anybody in the world. Feeling such a misfit, thinking, I'm just so woo-woo. People, you know, I don't connect with people because I have so much kind of creative stuff that's been suppressed that I'm now allowing out. And other people are a bit like, you know, they sort of frown upon it. But I've lived with that. I've accepted that and gone out sort of on my own trailblazing pathway, really. So it's a long time. When I'm saying Reiki, I started having Reiki when I was about 15.
Wow.
And what do you call it? The remedies, homeopathy. When I was
so
because it, go on.
How lovely that you found all of that though at that age.
Well,
because you could have found sex and drugs and rock and roll.
Well, that probably would have been easier and quicker.
Well, yeah, you could have. That was my route. I'm going to be completely honest, but that, that search for that, getting out of our reality, whatever that reality is, whether it's discomfort in your body, as a teenager with ADHD, you don't know that you've got ADHD, you don't know what's going on. Like, being a teenager is hard for anybody, whatever. But when you've got, and what, many teenagers do is try and escape from that feeling. You run from that feeling. You don't want to be in that feeling. And for me, it was, although I was always interested in the spiritual life, but I didn't have a guide. I didn't have that for me. I had, other things that we won't go into today. So how lovely that you had that side. Did it help?
That was all I had. I didn't have anything else. I didn't have friends. I had PMDD. I was diagnosed with premenstrual dysphoric disorder as well. So I was having a hell of a time with regulation and anger and, the outbursts, the impulsivity of not being able to keep my mouth shut and being quite volatile. And I didn't have any, I honestly feel in hindsight, I didn't have anybody who understands back then, anything about the nervous system, the mind, body, spirit, which I was the only way that I could find solace and peace with this stuff, this woo woo. I was on my own, completely on my own. I've got to feel quite emotional about that.
Yeah. But I'm sure that others would be listening thinking, so was I, and that's the hardest thing, isn't it? And like we did this on the Practitioner, didn't we? Looked at how that stage affects the next stage of life, that being a teenager, lost, alone. And I would say many teenagers, even with friends, felt alone, because it's
not something we really talked about back in our day. There wasn't sort of psychotherapy so much and support and online platforms or like-minded people. It was really a heads down, full of shame as well, embarrassment, and not tell anybody. It's really very much keeping cards close to your chest and masking behind what was really, really going on.
Yeah,
which is really tough.
So do you feel that those things helped? Do you feel the Reiki helped, the breathwork helped?
Yes, the main saving grace was breathwork. It's all part of literally a pathway up from one to another, and it's just expanded and expanded. So really, the breathwork really blew it out of the, off the planet, off the scale with healing and releasing trauma. Really releasing deeply held trauma as well, the trauma of undiagnosed ADHD, looking back now. And then my cycle awareness. I'm a menstrual cycle awareness practitioner as well. I've done the Red School Menstruality Leadership Program, so I'm one of their graduates. And my cycle awareness is brought me sanity, absolute sanity. Everything I do is based around my cycle. I lead my sessions based around cycle check-ins and what's going on in the seasons of the cycle, navigating the different weathers that we go through monthly. And I'm sorry.
No, go on. I want to ask you more about the Red School because
and I'm also a very proud member of the Red School cyclical business team. We work together regularly, looking at our business around our menstrual cycles, when we best show up, what parts of the seasons we are, rocking and rolling, and when we need to sit back and really batten down the hatches and rest and just enjoy the autumn and the winter that can be quite tough, especially with PMDD and any other kind of reproductory difficulties, disorders, endometriosis or whatever. It's that time of reflection and coming to a place where I'm okay with these awful places, because we all get.
Do you think with the menstrual cycle as well, and I suppose it's a bit like ADHD, when we don't know, when we don't understand, we fight and we fight to get out of it, and we fight to change it, and we're just like, yeah, no, this doesn't feel right. I need to, you know, we want to always change that state, be somewhere else. And however we do it, whether we do it with breath work or whether we do it with something, you know, drinking, alcohol, whatever, you know, people do that. But yet when we understand stuff, so you understanding your menstrual cycle actually was like, do you know what, there is, you know, those couple of weeks, you know, before and during my cycle, that's just calm and let go and let these things wash over me. But when you're pushing against them, so what would be your advice? Oh my gosh, we're going to go down so many rabbit holes. We're going to have to really try and stay on track here. I've got to take you down that the red school, you know, pathway though, because it's such a huge part again as a teenager as well, when that's just first happening. Wow, like it is. And we know, don't we, how volatile a time that is again for anybody, any female girl, born female teenager. But adding the ADHD, it's just a scary time.
Exactly. It really is. So I work with my clients. A lot of my clients are young girls, university students, young teenagers, and of course I work with adults too. And that cycle always plays a part somewhere, even if people are so detached from it. You know, some people really hate their cycle, really disconnect from it, and, you know, resent it and all of that, which doesn't help in any way, shape, or form. So help them to build a really loving, nurturing relationship with that, and to embrace that and what it tells you each month, that kind of inner compass that it gives you every day, actually, not just once a month, not just premenstrually. I'm talking about menstrual mindfulness every single day, because it's not just premenstrually, it's how we build up, how we start day one. I mean, how many people listening now that have cycles, or if not the lunar cycles, how many people know what day of the month they're on right now? You know, checking in with my clients, what day are you on today? You know, do you know the landscape of the first week of the cycle, the second week, the third, the fourth?
I mean, that's something for me that I've done quite a lot of working through my work, probably not as, you know, more with the hormones and that, and not as beautifully put, I think, as you know, just in touch with the feminine side of things. I'm more like, okay, well, you know, estrogen peaks here and progesterone peaks here, and then you feel this and then you feel that. But I'm, you know, when you say about, I have become over the years uber aware of my cycle, and I can't tell you, but I could probably tell you roughly where I am in my cycle, because I'm very in tune now with my body. But when I wasn't in tune with my body, I didn't know. And actually, I remember someone saying to me, a boyfriend saying to me, oh my God, you get really bad PMT, which was the worst thing to say to me, obviously. And actually, you know, that awareness, again, I'm like, okay, today I feel a bit triggered, agitated, emotional. Okay, I know that I'm coming close to that. So actually, and you know, like for me in my business or in my life, I know those first couple of weeks, get me out, I'm jazz hands, I want to see all the people and do all the things. And what I always say to people is like, that's all really good, just be careful in those first 2 weeks that you don't go and make all the appointments, all the commitments for the next 2 weeks, because all you're going to want to do is cancel everything.
Yes, yeah. So how would you take ADHD into that as well? If you take ADHD into that mix as well, pre-menstrually, or when you've made all those appointments, and that kind of that kind of overload and that kind of.
Take us through those cycles, Hayley. Those
right, weeks. Okay. So I mean, for those that have got regular cycles, and it's, you know, some are 1 to 28, one are long, some are longer, but it's no kind of one size fits all. So it's this kind of, you get to know your cycle. When you start tracking, you can get to see your own rhythm. You know, my rhythm is going to be different to everybody else's. My rhythm is quite regular, has been quite regular. And so you've got your spring, summer, autumn and winter. And I'll start with the winter when you have your bleed. So that winter season starts just a few days building up to the bleed. So, you know, you can imagine winter, you withdraw, you kind of retreat. You don't want to be seen, or they don't want anything bright and loud and everything. You feel like you just want to cuddle up, cozy down. And that's what you need to do. You know, you really need to honor that in some way. We sometimes call it having a big bleed, where you just do nothing. You come off social media, you don't answer the door, you know, you literally celebrate and honor being in the bleed, having that time to, and it's also like a rebirth as well. Each cycle is like a new initiation, a rebirth as well. And a lot of my breath work and my womb healing has been around this time as well. It's just so incredibly powerful as well. And then, of course, no matter how long you bleed, you will eventually start coming out into spring, day 5, 6. And that's when you need to be so tender and tentative, because you've been a recluse almost, hopefully, and let yourself be sorry for yourself and eat what you like, you know, and just do what you need to do. And then tentatively coming back out into spring. Again, not making all those appointments on day 6, because that's a wobbly day, you're transitioning. So it's that knowing the transition days as well, because they can be really kind of awkward, clunky. So yeah, coming into spring, just coming up, becoming alive again, just gradually, like the seeds are blooming, the flowers are blooming, you are starting to bloom again. And you think, God, where have I been? What happened? You know, I lost myself there. What happened? I didn't, you know, sometimes you don't know yourself in winter. You think, oh my God, who am I? Yeah. And then spring, you start to know yourself again, and you want to connect with other people again, and you reach out to people, and you start texting people that you didn't even want to talk to. And then, of course, into summer, and that's coming into the prime there around ovulation time. You're coming out into the summer, and that's when you're really rocking and rolling. You think you're Superwoman, you're on top of the world. Get all your projects done, do all your planning, whatever. Get it happening. Make hay while the sun shines. Absolutely,
yeah. Because the winter's coming.
Yeah. And then, as you know, then you're winding down into autumn. You know, be prepared for autumn coming. Don't just go from one to another. You just watch the clock, the cycle days ticking around, know exactly where you are and what's coming. And then you're ready for autumn. You've done all your bits in the right time and space. And then autumn's coming, the leaves start falling, and you're thinking, oh, here we go. We're back again. We're coming round again. And it is on repeat, obviously. But it's looking at it as when that kind of winter time's coming, autumn, winter, the truth speaker comes out. We call it the truth speaker. All the things that you've been avoiding, things you've been putting off, come say hello, you know, just when you don't want them to because you're not feeling your best. All those things like, I haven't done this and I should have done that, and the inner critic's coming in, and I'm this and I'm that. And it's how do we look after ourselves against that when we're feeling, you know, not so buffered. You know, how and what do I need to do? And not kind of panicking and going deeper into a depression or self-loathing and self-berating. I can't deal with this. Every month I've got to deal with this. What do you need? It's telling you to look and reflect and ask, what do I need right now? Well, I need my husband to help me a bit more. Not, oh God, he's fucking useless, you know, he gets on my nerves. What do you need from your husband?
Yeah.
What is your cycle telling you that you need? You're not just being awkward or making a fuss because it's the time of the month.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You need something. There's something that's missing. And it's really learning to have a voice,
And to check in, like you say, if you know that's coming, you can check in with yourself so that you can then ask your husband or your partner for what it is you need, rather than being angry because they don't know what you need, when you don't know what you need either. And
exactly. When you think you need a divorce, or I'm leaving, or I'm going to burn the house down, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think as well, like what you say about the spring, you know, as an ADHD, if you add ADHD into that, I think that, you know, and I've been guilty of this, in comes spring and suddenly you're like, right, let's go. All the things at once, everything now, go. And then actually crash, not a hibernation.
Yeah. This is it. And then that stays with you. That just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. And then, of course, there's the premenstrual rage, or the PMDD as mine was, but I've done so much healing and work and breath work around that, and now realise where the ADHD came into that, because I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. And I was only diagnosed last September, And oh my God, and now it's dealing with breath work. And this is what I do with my clients with ADHD, PMDD, the real deep trauma and the toll that takes on the body. And where the breath comes in with this is we suppress so much, especially as women. We contain so much. We let so many things go. We ignore our own needs. And all of this is withheld in the body. The body keeps a score. And it takes its toll. It really takes its toll. And with the breath, yes, there's techniques and to regulate and to keep you calm, etc., to have better sleep. But the breath that I do is a therapy. It's a real deep, hours or more long breathe into the suppressed emotions. We go into altered state of consciousness. It's therapy where you're going so deep into the parts that you've neglected, you've ignored, you've not loved and paid attention to. They're crying out to say, hello, please. This is the support you need, not anything external. It's internal. It's the messages that you're not listening to. So the breath kind of takes you into those suppressed parts that are hurting, that are aching, that are grieving. A lot of my grief has been around something I didn't even know about. Still not knowing, what is this trauma? Why am I not functioning in the world as a really successful woman? I've been so driven and so creative. I've done so much with, so much with my life, with all my work with Red School. And I did my degree at 52 and published an article about PMDD. Still, if I wrote it again now, there's a whole nother part of the story. It's like, it's all led. Everything's led from one part to another part to another part. And I've had people saying, when are you going to stop? When are you going to stop this search? Well, I've stopped now because I know from the training that I don't have to search anymore. It was like the cherry on top of the biggest fucking cake. I like cake. Me and cake. Don't talk about me and cake. That's another thing. Eating issues. All the eating issues and the binging. Another story.
Yeah.
But the training has given me that validation. Look what happened to me. I came to the graduation.
Well, and that, I was actually, I don't know how, I didn't want to beat you, but I was just thinking, actually, you had only just realised the ADHD part and you signed up for the ADHD practitioner, of course. So you were thrown full, and obviously, luckily, I think you probably had a good basis of some of the heavier stuff that we covered, the neuroscience, the neurotransmitters, the hormonal stuff. So I guess, thank goodness you had that, but there was a lot for you to take on so quickly. It was just, baptism of fire wasn't in it. And I think for you, there was one point where, you did, I remember voice noting you and you voice noted, and you just had to, and you did, and you were true to yourself. You just had to retreat a little bit, didn't you? And take a breath. And and I did think at that point, where you're going to come, and you said, I'm just going to watch things on replay and I'm just going to give them. And then I was thinking, we stayed sort of in touch on a voice note, and I was thinking, I hope you come. And then you kind of came back, and then suddenly you came out, and to come to the graduation was a huge thing for you. Wasn't it? Because I think that kind of alludes to your story.
It absolutely is. And it's really good to hear you kind of mirror that back to me, what the process that I went through, because that's what I do. I have to take stock, ask myself what I need, and then resurface it, go through that and come through spring again and going back. That's what I do. And I'm quite happy to do that, rather than hiding away from it forever. I know when to show up and when to just take a back step back seat, whatever. And I just want to share, that graduation and being with such a wonderful group of women in the cohort, and you, of course, and that kind of feeling I belong. I actually belong here, because that's been a huge, painful thread throughout my life. I don't belong. I don't feel safe with other people in groups. I should say I don't feel safe at all. No matter how much I breathe, how much I ground myself, I still have to go home and cry and decompress, not knowing why.
Yeah.
Not knowing why. So to be in that group and to get to a point where I can show up, I can be in a room with other women and I can talk and share. And because even when I did my degree at 52, I didn't go to the graduation. It was just, it's another qualification. I've got so many qualifications. It's just another one. Doesn't mean anything. And again, that I think is part of ADHD. We just don't stop and take on how much we are capable of.
Yeah.
How much with that hyper focus and that drive. I've always known I can take on the world in the summer. And I do, you know, I'm a real kind of doer, go-getter. But on the other side of that is this kind of this person that retreats and takes care and feels tender and vulnerable, but really takes care with the breath work and whatever I need to do.
It is amazing how it's all. I'm just gonna read you some of the comments because some of the ladies from the Practitioner know, and you can't see them, so I'm just going to read you because honestly, they're saying we need women who this is Claire that I think you sat with, didn't you, Claire, on the same table?
Hi,
Claire. I think she's a fair bit of woo, is our Claire. And I've just remembered, Claire, you emailed me and I need to email you back, so I will do that. But and then Eileen Jarvis is saying, I wish when I was a teenager dealing with my stuff, I had Hayley and knew about breathwork and how it would help me with my undiagnosed ADHD, PTSD. It's been a game changer for me now. So thank you, Hayley. I've only just started tracking my cycle. It took me 52 years, but it's really helping me now. Hello, ladies from Fiona. Moon cycle tracking. The trouble is, like, I don't try not to read the comments because I get distracted. And then there's a totally agree. I feel the same. I don't know what we were talking about then, but there's a lot of agreement going on here. You absolutely belong, Hayley Barker-Smith, and you're an incredible member. We've learned so much from you. And I think, like, how interesting conversation, like all these little gems she's had in her up her sleeve all of this.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, I bet there is. Oh my goodness me, you're a proper little Pandora's box.
I like that. I like that.
So what I wanted to ask as well is going back to the woo and teenager and think, do you think as well, because obviously for you, and I don't know, we haven't spoken about this, but the spirituality side of it. I mean, I will always say to people personally, I don't know if you are, but I'm not religious, as in I'm not tied to a religion. I feel very spiritual. I know there's something much bigger than me, and I know that I'm, part of something amazing, beautiful, and huge. But when you talk as well about, those feelings of keeping the feelings in and not belonging, do you think that's part of the fact that, as ADHDers and with autism and other neurotypical, we see and feel so much. Like,
yes.
They say that ADHD is not a deficit of attention. It's the complete opposite. So, all my life, I've found it really challenging at times that I pick up on things that I really wish I didn't sometimes. Little, all the unspoken things that are going on around me that give me a look sometimes into people's lives that I almost wish, particularly with my children, sometimes like, oh my God, I know what's going on with him. And he'd be like, Mum, you're like a witch. And sometimes that's great. It's got him out of trouble. But other times I'm like, actually, I don't need to feel so much because it feels a lot. Do you think as well that is our connection to this woo side, this energetic?
Of course. Yes, absolutely. How did I get on the path that I am? Nobody showed me. If you listen to that and trust it, it's all about trusting that part of you. It really is. And that's what I bring to my clients, teaching them to trust. Absolutely trust.
It's so hard when you have been somebody who has learned not to trust yourself because you're going to say the wrong thing. You're going to do the wrong thing. You're going to blurt it out or that you don't know how to behave. And, as ADHDers, we're as youngsters, it's looking around to see, well, how does, and I even find that, simple things that people do. I'm like, oh my God, I never knew that was why they did it. We are made up by, I think, especially for us late diagnosed, of so many parts. And like you said, of other people where we've pieced together this persona.
Yeah.
That actually there's just so many parts to us that aren't really us that we pick up. I can't remember where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought.
You was talking about the woo, and you see, I'm very good at tracing back where we go from. I'm really listening to what you're saying. Ask me in an hour, I won't remember a thing. I'm tracking. I'm listening. It's part of my job. I teach people to listen. I teach people to listen, not from up here. We don't do any mind-based stuff, any bit of reframing, but we don't listen to this. We completely come in here with the breath. We completely come into the parts, the neglected parts, the aggressive parts, the needy part, whatever parts it is. I had so much shame around my voice and how easily I could throw it out there. And then the shame and that, the amygdala hijack and all of that regret and remorse and going over and over and over things. I teach people how to stop that and honor these parts and listen to what they need. I can't stop people from being impulsive. They don't need to stop from being impulsive. They're never going to, but I help people to deal with the potential backlash from society, because you will get it. I teach them how to show up regardless, to say what they need to say regardless, and be okay with whatever happens, whether they make a mistake, whether they regret something or showed themselves up like I have done many, many times. I help them to kind of process. It's about not, again, breathing it in and holding on to it, because as soon as we do anything shameful, the breath helps us to avoid the feelings and the emotions and go, oh, I don't want to feel that, and will inhibit the experience. Once we learn to breathe and process the experience, sometimes in the moment, you're not holding on to it and it passes. It doesn't just build up and build up and build up to a point where you cannot control anything. No. Whether it's rage, whether it's tears, whether it's whatever it is, grief.
I think as well, as ADHD is again, and maybe it's just part of growing up, but it takes a long time to learn that it's safe to feel your feelings. It certainly took me a long time. It was like, oh my gosh, I feel angry, I feel guilty, I feel shamed, I feel embarrassed, I feel like I don't belong. I can't bear feeling any of that. I'm gonna have a drink, or I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out and party till, usually a whole weekend. I was pretty good at partying.
Back in the day,
anything to not feel. And for me, I learned when a friend of mine passed away. Not luckily, but luckily for me, at that time in my life, I was probably on that journey where I was talking to people about, you should do breathwork, you should do meditation. It was about 10 years ago. And although I wasn't doing that at the time, I was speaking it. And actually, I realized very quickly, right, I need to feel everything that comes up here. I just need to feel it. I need to go with whatever I feel. And it was the first time in my life I'd ever really allowed myself to do that. And I know that I healed so much quicker from that than I'd ever healed from previous experiences in my life, because as we know with ADHD, we do hold on to negative experience. We have so many negative experiences, comments, etc. by the time we're 12 years old, and we hold on to them for longer. And I wonder if it is that fear of our feelings and fear of feeling what we are.
Absolutely, of course. And this is how it all just gets stuck, and then it elevates to more fear, and then you're rigid and you're tense, and you just hold yourself back. You keep yourself small. You fly under the radar, and you're kind of immobilized sometimes with fear. And this is how, with the breath, we let it go. We can, and don't get me wrong. It's a slow process. It's not. We do not need to be rushing out trying to change tomorrow, and I'm going to stop doing this, and tomorrow I'm going to do that. It's not. It is breathe, heal. Oh, hang on. You have to heal. Oh, start again. You have to feel to heal. You have to feel to heal. Okay. And people think, oh my God, I cannot possibly, because if I start, it'll just be too much. But we do it in such tiny, gentle measures, slowly, very, really slowly, very, very slowly, to a place where it's doable, it's comfortable, it's manageable. I can only take people where I've been myself, and I've been right at the beginning, right at the very beginning, working through my own stuff bit by bit by bit by bit. And that's how I take people on a really gentle, slow journey. It's not anything where I can give tools and techniques. That's why I'm really like, strategies. What strategies? I need you to get into this depth, this real depth from the soul level.
So let's talk about your work exactly, you know, because there are so many there's so many ways of doing breath work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been recently doing the Wim Hof, that sort of thing. I find that really, really challenging. I'm not going to lie, I find it very difficult. And you're talking about deep work that's about an hour long, which I'm not going to lie, I think, oh my gosh, you know, breathing like that for an hour, I think, oh crikey, you know, what does a session or a journey with you sort of look like? What could people?
Well, it's very, very kind of, if it's one-to-one, it's very prescriptive. So whatever that person is bringing, whatever they're presenting with, whatever they want to be different, whatever they want to attract into their lives or to release that's not serving them. So we talk, we have a good old chat. I give them a very thorough assessment, because we even look at birth trauma, womb trauma. We go right back into how you came into this world.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. A hell of a lot of healing needs to be done around ancestral trauma. That comes into breath work as well. So it's not just about what's going on the surface in your life at the moment. It's all these contributing parts that are causing you distress, you know, not being able to function. And then there's the ADHD. But anyway, so it starts with a real thorough assessment on a one-to-one level. And then we kind of hit the road, you know, we kind of look at, right, what's your intentions? What are we going in with? And if they're saying, well, I don't want this and I don't want that, we look at, what do you want? This is important now. We're tapping in the destination on the sat nav here.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? And it's like, oh my God, then the fear comes in, then the fear can really come in.
And sometimes do people even really know until they've done that work? No. So imagine what they say in the beginning, because I even know as a coach, people come in and say, I want this. Yeah. You know, the amount of people that have gone over the years of coach because I want to leave my husband or I want to leave my relationship. Yeah. And I always say, okay, let's just shelve that and let's do some work and let's get to know you. And, you know, quite often 6 months later, they're like, oh my God, my relationship's great. We're getting along amazing, because they've shed so many layers. They're like, oh, actually, I don't want what I thought I wanted. So do they want the same at the end as they did at the beginning?
No. Like you say, a lot of them don't know what they want. But even if, what I'm saying, when we put in the sat nav, it's what do you want today? Yeah. Not necessarily like in 6 months.
We're working
so closely, aren't we? We're looking at, what do you need today? You know, that can be so overwhelmed and in really quite distressing states. You know, we're dealing with trauma. We're dealing with deep trauma a lot of the time. So what do they need today? What do they want today? And they'll know what they don't want. And so we're working on, so what do you want? You know, and they might be just calm. Their intention may be to feel calm. Yeah. Their intention may be to feel grounded. Their intention may be to feel, I don't know, any number of things.
Security quite often.
Or, to get over whatever's just happened with my boss, you know, and to process that. You know, it could be something really close or bigger, whatever. So we're working really gradually, and then I will show them the technique, the tool, I hate that word, the process.
The strategy. I'm going to tell everyone in a minute why I will like allude.
I don't mind. I'm pretty transparent.
It makes sense to me. Hayley, everything's making so much more sense to me, but go on, we'll talk about that in a minute.
I'm glad. I'm really glad. So we then breathe. They breathe, and we do voice dialogue. So we're dialoguing with different parts during the breath, and it's, as I say, they're in an altered state of consciousness. They've gone into another level, and people will start to feel physical movement in the body, some tension. Some people, we call it tetany. Their fingers literally claw. It's tetany. It's called tetany, and it's the energy. It's that tetany, the energy that's just building up, and then I will be seeing that, and I'll be helping them to we dialogue with the tetany. We will dialogue with these parts that are just shifting and burning and shaking and so many physical things, because that's what we are literally containing and restraining ourselves with all of this energy that we've not processed. So it's a physical thing. It can be very physical, and that can be quite scary. But of course, I set the scene, what to expect and how I'm going to guide you, because I'm closely guiding every single breath, really. They breathe either in through their nose and out through the nose, or in through the mouth and out through the mouth. There's no counting, no pausing. Go on, was you going to say something?
All right. So, oh gosh, there's so much I want to say. I mean, like, if you're listening, guys, who wants to go and work with Hayley? Because I'm like, right, I want to do this. But I've got a couple of questions. And then could we just do a little bit of this breath work? Could we just like take it some time? But one thing I want to ask, which is nothing to do with that, but I've read the James Nestor book.
Breathe.
And he talks about not breathing through the mouth. He describes breathing through the mouth like drinking pond water, and breathing through the nose like drinking mountain.
Yes.
But you say you can breathe through the mouth, because that's, since I've heard that, I've been confused by that.
Yes, a lot of people are so confused. Even when people come to me, they at first will find it hard to do the simple breath that I'm teaching. It's so difficult because they're so used to yogic breaths or different types of counts and pausing and all that malarkey.
Yes.
And yet this is so simple, and I'll show you in a second. But James Nestor, yes, he's absolutely right. We all should be breathing through our noses, 100%. If you can learn to breathe through your nose, that's how we're supposed to breathe. I sleep every night, and my friend will laugh at me. She's listening, I know, with a mouth tape.
Yeah.
I sleep every night with a mouth tape, and I can't recommend it enough. I cannot recommend it enough. When we're taking in a breath through our mouth, that's aggravating the sympathetic nervous system, which is the stress system, because we learn to breathe through the mouth to run and to breathe heavily. When we breathe through the nose, we're into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is calming, soothing, resting. So that's what we need to be doing when we're asleep. We're not running a marathon at night. So we need to tape your mouth at night. Only that, the way that my head feels in the morning, my respiratory system in the morning feels clear. I have a lot of rhinitis and sinus stuff wrong. If I don't tape, I'm really in a mess in the morning. So I know if I forget, so Amazon, little mouth tapes.
Literally use the little, like you would use like the surgical tape, would you?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. It's like a little. I've tried the wax strips, but
I've tried doing it before, and I got myself in a bit of a state.
So people think, if people say, "Oh God, but I won't be able to breathe." Well, you will. You'd be surprised how it feels weird at first, but you soon get used to it. And if you were to panic, like I had a coughing fit once, or you just poke your tongue out and it comes off.
Yeah.
So it's really, I want to hear some feedback on people doing.
Okay, we're all doing mouth taping tonight. So I'm just saying what I said. The girls are just saying, I want to work with you, Hayley. Me. You're going to have to come and do some.
I would love to. I'll tell you what I'd love to do for us. I'd love to do an in-person something or other together. I'd love to do that, like a real live breathe. I will be doing a lot of stuff online, but my passion is in person. And we have music playing where you're down with your blanket and your pillow and your eye mask if you wish. And a group breathe is so dynamic. When you breathe in your hearts and your lungs are all breathing together, it's immense. It's absolutely immense.
Okay, well, I've already my little business brain's already whirring because we've got a
We're away.
In July.
I was talking about the session. Just see, I always do that. I rewind. I was talking about the session. So we do the breathe, then afterwards we integrate, and that's one of the most important parts of breathwork is the integration. We don't go into lots and lots of words. We don't go into the mind. We still stay in with the deep, heartfelt space that we're in. We don't want to go analysing.
Is that when you hold the breath?
The integration.
Yeah, that's not.
No, it's a kind of a practice. Integration is a practice of space. In the space, we allow everything to settle and to come together, or all the cogs to work together, and everything just settles in your energy, because it's quite dynamic. Imagine the energy is like all over the place. We just come back in, we ground, And then if the client wishes to share, they can. And some of them just want to hold it so close and say, no, I just need to go home now. We always have biscuits. Biscuits are the best biscuits, especially after a group. We have lots of biscuits and cookies because there's a group energy in the room. And then the thing that I do is, right, we'll go home, reflect. When you get time, there's no rush. Just go and do something really simple and restful. And then if you, whatever comes up, you contact me or we bring it back next session. You know, it's no analysing. There's no going back over, because quite often it's like an emotional vomit. Stuff comes up. And if you have a vomit, you don't go up to it and go, well, look, there's the peas and there's the carrots. And there's we don't do that, do we? So if we have an emotional vomit, we don't need to name it and go back over it. It's just grief. It's just anger. It's just sadness. It's just what's the other one? I work around the mad, sad, glad and scared. We always start with, where are you now? Mad, sad, glad, scared. Some people are all 4, 1 or 2. And then that's what we're acknowledging, all of that. And we don't need to look at the vomit and go, well, look, that was because of my divorce. That was because, it doesn't matter. It's just a whole emotions and energy, trauma, pain, history, prehistory, ancestral history, whatever.
Claire saying, I love you so much, Hayley. You're getting so much love. You've got to go back and look at these comments, because the girls are just loving you here, Hayley. But I think you're right, because I think the fact that, you know, you probably, the divorce, you've dealt with a lot of that in the conscious mind as well. You've gone over and over it in the conscious mind. It's just actually, it's that letting it go out of your body that's always keeping you anchored to.
This is it. What you've just said is just perfect. We do go over and over and over it. And we think by going over and over and over it, we'll come to the end of it. Yeah. We might do, time-wise, you move on. But then how quickly can you be re-triggered in the future by a song, by a memory, by something that's gone, oh, geez. Yes. You know, I've just had some real trauma come up. I breathe regularly. I'm always breathing. I do it regularly. I've just had some real trauma come up with my young daughter. She's 17, and it's taken me right back to me at that age. And I thought, I've done so much work around me at that age. As a mother looking at a daughter of that age, that's different. That's different. So there's a whole host of different parts to play in this. So I've done some breathing, some really deep breathing. You can do it yourself. I'll teach people to do it themselves. That trauma that I've been processing recently, I thought that had gone a long time ago. So there's still residue. You know, there's still residue that can hurt me now. Of course, I'm so sensitive, like we are with ADHD. I'm so sensitive. And if I get worked up, which I do quite easily, I can come home and breathe. I say to my husband, I need to breathe. I'm going up. And I've got my own little playlists. I put these big headphones on because I cry. And if I put little ones on, they fall out of my ears. So I put these big tear catchers on. I absolutely howl. But, oh, my God, the place you get to after that, it's like, I can breathe. But
also, you can breathe, but your body can breathe, and you're not holding on to, you know, I'm just thinking of like what you've just described. Imagine going through that coming in with that. What you need to do is to breathe, but you don't know you need to breathe. So what we do is we hold on to whatever that day has brought up for us, whatever emotions, and they get pushed down and they get pushed down, they get pushed down. And then what happens, as we know, and we talked about on the program, and we know from real life, that suddenly they'll just burst out the most inopportune, you know, like everyone will be like, what is going on there? Because you can't hold it. Or they make you ill, or they take you to a place where your body becomes ill. You know, you have disease. You know, you've got to get this out. And I just think that understanding that
all of that suppressed emotion, it's got to go somewhere. It doesn't just disappear. It's got to go somewhere. It's either going to come out of the wrong person, or, like you say, it's going to cause physical dis-ease in your body. And of course, a lot of that can come up in a session as well. People's back issues, their neck issues start to show in a breathwork session. And we breathe into that. We release. We so many people hurt. You know, some breathworks, I feel like I've been beaten because it is physical. It can be really physical.
Yeah. Wow. Right. So I didn't think that we would be, I said to you earlier, so we're nearly at an hour.
Right.
So I want you to do work, but what I don't want you to do is to do it. Do you think you can do something for us in a couple of minutes, or do you? I mean, I'm just thinking I'm definitely going to ask you to come and do an online one and an in-person one, but it would be amazing to do a session, like a proper session. But is there anything that you could give us to take with us through our day?
How long have we got? I mean, I'm happy to do a little exercise, but it depends how long we've got.
It's 4 minutes to 2.
Well,
so we're only 26 minutes over, Hayley, so don't worry about it.
I've got a lot more to tell you yet.
I know. Well, I'm just thinking, oh my God, we need the afternoon, don't we? But yeah, no, we can do however long you want, really. If people can stay, they can stay, or if not, just come please and watch on catch up.
Yeah, I mean, I've got time. If I can go, I know, about another 5 minutes or so, or okay. What I'd like to do first of all is just to encourage everybody, if they want to perhaps lay down for a minute, if you can lay down, if they can, that would be good, because it's when you breathe and you lay down, you just really open your airways, and you've got just room to let go and just literally melt into the ground, sort of thing.
Can I lay down? I'm just gonna.
I'd love you to lay down. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go on the floor. You crack on. I'll
get a blanket. You don't get cold. You need a blanket.
No, I know. Don't worry. No, I've got my blanket. Look. I'm ready. I'm ready. Go for it.
Okay, so I just encourage you to, first of all, just rest your eyes. Just wherever you are, wherever you're sitting, laying, just resting your eyes closed. Just letting your shoulders drop. Letting your tummy drop. We often just clench that tummy. Just let the tummy go. Nothing you need to hold on to. They're the first areas to just tense, to clench. Just let those go. Knowing that the ground's supporting you. If you're laying down, if you're sitting, your feet are firmly supported by the ground. And we're going to take a full breath into the belly. This breath is a full breath that will then expand to your ribs and into your sides. If you imagine breathing into your side ribs as you expand, really stretching out the intercostal muscles between every single rib, just really breathing full in the belly, full in the side ribs, letting it just fall away at the top. Then we go from the belly, the side ribs into the chest. Full breath, full expansion, bringing in that life force energy. As much as you can, take in what's yours, take in this life force, take in this nurturing air. Just taking it in fully into the belly, ribs, chest, and let it fall away. Just imagine that you're pulling back a swing with that in-breath. And you let it go with the out-breath. And you continually breathe in, fully, expansively, and just let it fall away. Just let it go. And this is a conscious, connected breath. The connected part is we don't pause either end. We don't stop. We just continue that loop on the in-breath and the out-breath. From one to the other, to the other, to the other. Just keeping that loop moving, breathing in. And let it fall away. Remembering it's either in through the nose and out through the nose, or in through the mouth and out through the mouth. Just gently bringing it in and letting it fall. We bring in everything we need. We bring in life force. We bring in new ideas. We bring in life. We breathe out everything that no longer serves us. We give ourselves permission to let that go. We expand the lungs fully. We take up our space. We stand tall with that breath. Open your heart, open your lungs, and really breathe fully into that space. And let it go. And just continuing that breath, soothing every part of your nervous system, every cell in your body, from top to toe. This breath is yours. This breath is the only system in your body that you can control. You have choice with your breath. You can come back to your breath at any moment, any time of the day. You can pause. You can put your hand on your heart and breathe and release and soften into whatever is coming your way, whatever is stopping you. And just keep that breath moving. I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes, but just keeping that breath moving without any pauses. Choosing the breath over thought. And just being aware of whatever's surfacing, whatever you're noticing. And being always curious with your breath. Breathing into any areas of discomfort at any time. And now, perhaps just thanking your body, thanking yourself for allowing yourself to take a few moments just to stop. Just to pause, just to be. And thanking each other for everything that we bring to each other and to the world. And when you're ready, just really, really gently wiggling your toes or your hands. And taking your time to come back to center.
Wow. I thought, oh, I better just get up. So that was so, I was thinking, I know what I'm like. That just to take though that moment and really expand and just connect and just, it just shuts down some of those windows in the brain, doesn't it? It just gives yourself the space to think. I know for me, about 3 weeks ago, I woke up 4 o'clock in the morning and my whole body was viscerally, I'd had a nightmare, but it was something that had triggered me. It was something that, one of those things that actually consciously, in my mind, it was sorted. It was all sorted. And then something came, like you say, out of nowhere, and it's a comment. And suddenly I thought, oh my God, I don't know what to do with myself. And I just started doing the Wim Hof stuff, or I hadn't just started, but I was doing. I thought, I don't know what to do. I thought that's the only thing I can do. And I went and did it. And it was the only time that I felt that actually, and when in a hold, suddenly this inner voice just said everything I needed to hear. And I was almost like, and I didn't try, I was like, where's that come from? But it just changed my whole perspective, and my whole day was just unbelievable.
Trust.
Right, let me read you. Yeah, and that's what it was. And that's basically kind of what I was saying. Right. Oftentimes it seems easier to change the immediate circumstances than it is to change ourselves. When we work on ourselves, we find the ability to see circumstances differently. That was from Michael. Lovely. Helen says, my partner would love it if I kept my mouth tape on all day too, I suspect.
Try it.
Michael says, ADHD has affected my life perspective and hobbies greatly, and I've learned to make the vice into one of my greatest virtues, all thanks to, oh, that's just an advertisement. I'll just knock him off. Oh my gosh, I just keep getting all this blooming.
Yeah, spam.
Yeah, and do you know what? I don't know what it is. It's so annoying. And the thing is, if I tried to put something out about ADHD or something, Facebook would probably tell me I'm against, you've got to be so careful what you say. Really. Yeah, exactly. Claire's saying that was my guides talking to me. It really did feel like something came from nowhere and just told me what I needed to hear. It was unbelievable. And it was just, I love moments like that. Hayley, I mean, literally, I could talk to you. Well, we have to do that in person day, I think. I'm just thinking, oh my God.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. I'm going to leave it there. I've got so much else I want to say. I've not even done ADHD, and Hayley's done an amazing PDF that we haven't even got to, but we're going to leave it there. I know. Where can people find you, Hayley? Where can we come and find you and, find more out about your work and how we could, have you got online stuff going right now? I mean, let's just ask this, because I suppose it's rare. How's doing the ADHD practitioner? Has that changed how you'll be doing your breath work and your work? Or is it just like having that extra layer of understanding, do you think?
Well, very good question. So, gosh, I struggle with information and educating people. So the only way I can do things is to show people and help themselves, etc. I can't talk about too much, believe it or not. But I'm all about being and showing, and so I will be doing, up and coming very soon, online breathes regularly.
Amazing.
I do already breathwork groups in Essex. I'm in Leonsea in Essex, which is a lovely little venue near the sea. It's beautiful. I do one-to-ones online. I do a lot of one-to-ones online, and I do one-to-ones in person in Lee, which is a wonderful place. I will be doing some bigger workshops, because I don't just do breathing. I do some creative stuff that can evoke emotions and stuff, and use that and bring it into the breath as well. So I'm working on that. That's from doing the ADHD training. This has freed me up, because as you can tell, I've done a lot of journeying, and I've got to this point now, and I don't need to carry on anymore worrying about what's wrong with me. I know now from the training, I've got a much fuller understanding of myself, but I'm processing grief at the moment around my late diagnosis. I'm really processing a lot of grief, but I'm doing that with the breath, which is amazing. So I can only take my clients as far as I've been myself. Right. And I've got so far now that I can hang my boots up and go, right, I'm all yours,
How, though, just for you, what an amazing place to get to, because like you say, as ADHD when is that point?
Yeah.
I think that's amazing to hear you say that, but sorry, carry on. You were going to say
that's how I feel. I like that we have this magpie syndrome. I need to do this and I need to do that. I don't need to do anything else. And I know that now from this training, and that validation, that kind of the biggest cherry on the biggest fucking cake. Now I'm going to just eat the cake. Yeah. If anyone wants a piece. That's it. So this is going to inform my work now moving forward. I've got more confidence. I've got, my certification that's got such, what's the word, kudos or whatever, to make me even more than I am already.
Wow.
It's exciting. It is exciting.
It's so exciting. And I know, I just know that I'm definitely going to be come and work with you at some point, if you're doing anything, because I just think it's just, and definitely having, I suppose for me, I look for people like you, and there aren't, you're gems. You're a gem. I'm so excited, you know, and I've met Gem's like, but you now understand ADHD. So you're my ADHD Gem. So like, oh yeah, now you like get it, but you really get it because, oh my God, I need to stop talking to you. But I've just one other thing I want to say. You know, I was at a thing at the weekend where a lady, it was actually somebody that signed up for the next graduation, next practitioner, happened to be there. And she'd been and spoken to a lady that was a subconscious something or other. I don't know, you know, subconscious. And I've always been drawn to those sort of people. But she came over to me and she said, that lady's just told me she can heal my ADHD. And I was like, right, yeah. She said, because she says she can do, you know, I don't know, like, oh, it's the subconscious programming. And when we get into the subconscious programming and da-da-da. And I just think that when I hear people say that, I find it quite, and not much does trigger me around it, but I just think, you know, you're probably not going to be able to heal ADHD. You can just get people to accept it and deal with the processing and the grief. And so actually having people like yourself that are like, I can do so much to heal your ADHD, but you have a real understanding now of every part of it. You know, the fact that there is structural differences in the brain. There's, you know, there's a lot to process. And yeah, I think that I've heard a lot of that in the past, and I find that quite.
I think that'd be quite a moment to just bring up that PDF.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Because this is what I'm dealing with. I'm helping people to see what lies beneath.
Yeah.
I take you beneath the surface. I literally will take you from what you're showing on the outside at the top, what you're presenting with, to really supporting you with what lies beneath.
Yeah.
The hidden struggles or parts of ADHD, some that you're aware of and some that you don't even realise, but you will get to know through your own journey.
Yeah.
Making your journey. Yeah, and so that's that.
And with that lady, I think what that lady, again, and I was sort of like, oh God, I'd love to go over to her and say, please come and do the practitioner, because actually, yeah, like you, I believe that you can, but not in the way that you think it is from undoing that subconscious programming. But you have to have an understanding of what it is. Do you know what I mean? And you've got both sides of that there. And maybe we can put this, I don't know where I can put it so that people go, you know, are you going to do this as a download so that people can give you their email address? And this is an opt-in, really.
If they would like that, you know, it's it really means a lot to me, this image. It really means a lot to me. Yeah. I've seen it used elsewhere, and I used to use it with clients.
Yeah, I've seen it used. Beautiful done.
Yeah.
Okay, so, right. Let's wrap it up there before I think of any more questions.
Has anyone else got any more questions?
Oh my God. It's like, but you have had some amazing, love that. I'm a breathwork coach too, and sometimes you just forget to connect in. I also think, Claire, you know, there's knowing, just because we are that person and we do that thing, actually sometimes it's very nice to not have to be to have somebody else to carry that for us and have someone that we can turn to and work with. Amazing. Okay, Hayley. So if anybody wants to find you, have you got a website, an email address?
I have www.hayleybarkersmith.co.uk or Facebook and Instagram, Hayley Barker-Smith Psychotherapy and Breathwork. Yeah.
Amazing.
Or call me.
And all of your details are going to be below this. Thank you so much. That was unbelievable. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for staying with us, guys, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.